This San Antonio Spurs team will be above 500. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody that supports the San Antonio Spurs knows it, and if you don't support the Spurs, then unfortunately you're going to have to watch it happen. But this team is above 500 as we anticipate heavily the start of the regular season for the San Antonio Spurs. I, Keenan Warner, am here on Spurs Digest, ready to break down all awards, how the Spurs will get to above 500, and why everybody should feel the same way that I do. But before I get into all of that, I want to say thank you to all of you guys. Our goal was 2,000 before the start of the season, and we're getting close. We got close. We were 3/4 of the way there because that prediction was made right as we got 1K. So we got super close, and we can't do that without all of you guys supporting everything we're doing here at Spurs Digest. For the ones who have subscribed, thank you. For the viewers who haven't subscribed but keep viewing, thank you. And for the ones who haven't subscribed, join the Spurs community because we've got a lot more in store for you guys, a lot of fun, engaging content, especially with the people in the community. The comment section's been going crazy. I love that, and I appreciate every single one of you. But without further ado, the San Antonio Spurs. This is their win projection for the year, 36.5. And this guy who did predictions for everybody is predicting us around 34 wins. We don't round, 0.4, we don't round up or round down. So they think we're going 34-48. Okay. I hope that the people are going to continue to doubt, continue to not believe in the San Antonio Spurs roster and what they're doing in San Antonio. So, first, let's take a look at last season. Let's just take a look at last season. 22-60, 14th in the Western Conference. Last year was an experimental year. In the words of Victor Wembanyama himself, he said last year our expectations for ourselves was to, learn to know ourselves, and I think towards the end of the year it really showed. We'll get into that momentarily. And this year we expect from us to win. He said that, and then Gregg Popovich said, I want everyone to get better. I have expectations for every player, both individually and team-wise. We want them to improve in every area. So both of them are locked in. That was said at Spurs Media Day. Point differential, only 6 points. Not a terrible point differential, especially for being a 22-win team. Usually 22-win teams, you'll get into that 10-12, where teams are typically beating you up and they're playing very well against you. The defensive rating, 22nd, but from the All-Star break on, because of how great Wemby was, their defensive rating was in the top 10. So their net rating was actually close to a positive last year because of how great Victor Wembanyama is defensively, and we only have gotten better defensively in the offseason. These are just a run of last season. And then this right here, this I want to focus on. The last 23 games of the San Antonio Spurs season, they went 11-12. They went 11-12 over their last 23, and they had some big wins. It wasn't like they were just playing scrubs. They had wins over Golden State. They had wins over Oklahoma City, a win over Denver, a win over Phoenix, a win over the Pacers, a win over the Knicks in that overtime thriller where Brunson went off, but Wemby went 37-20, I believe. He went nuts. So these aren't just teams that were only they beat the Pistons during that stretch. They beat the Grizzlies, who weren't great last year in the stretch. So they were playing true competition, and their plus minus was minus 0.9. So they were within a point between that. They were a 500 team last season with no additions, no anything at the end of the season, as Wemby was kind of talking about there. At the end of the season, a 500 team over the last quarter of the season. And they've gotten much better. Not just a little better, much better. These are the big ones. I mean, Oklahoma by 14, the Pacers by 12, the Warriors by 13. These are all teams, too, that are fighting for playoff position. All of these games mattered. Teams weren't sitting anyone. That big Denver win was the difference between Denver being the 2 seed or the 1 seed or the 2 seed, which would have changed their entire path to the NBA final. They wouldn't have had to see Minnesota. It changed their entire season, that loss. That was a big loss for Denver and a big win for San Antonio. But the additions that they made, of course, you've got Chris Paul, you've got Harrison Barnes, you've got Stephon Castle. 3 massive pieces that they've added to this team. But then that just fills out the depth chart. You've got Victor Wembanyama, you've got Jeremy Sochan. Obviously, Devin Vassell's not going to be out too long. Chris Paul, Tre Jones. So you've got a legitimate 10. And then you've got Sandro, you've got Bassey, who just came back, you've got Wesley, you've got Brenham. Like, you've got multiple pieces off the bench, even in that 9 to 13 range, that are going to be very good components to this roster. This roster is deep. It has a lot of pieces. They can put in different kind of lineups, different styles. Gregg Popovich is going to have fun this year because he's going to be able to really get into his coaching bag and be able to put in different combinations at different times. The Chris Paul effect. We all know it. We all seen it. The Hornets, this is before the year before and then the year with Chris Paul. Hornets were bad. This is when they drafted him. It goes up to 40. That's 24%. The Clippers were bad. Then they were good. The Rockets were good, and then they went to a 65-win team. James Harden wins MVP. He goes down in Game 5. If he doesn't go down in Game 5, they may be able to upset the Golden State Warriors fully healthy, not like Toronto did when Kevin Durant only played about 11 minutes in the finals. You've got the Thunder. People in OKC still talk about what he did to that Thunder team, how he helped the winning culture there, how he helped actually build something there. And that roster wasn't supposed to be what it was. That was all influx to Paul George, and everything got moved. But when Chris Paul goes there and he's able to talk to Shea, he's able to get Shea to be better, and Shea's now going to be one of the leading candidates for MVP prediction-wise. Then he goes to the Suns. They make a Suns a 60-win team, and they get the Suns to the NBA Finals. This is what he does. And last year with Golden State, they did have an uptick, but they're not shown on this graphic. Chris Paul makes people better, regardless. And it's not only with this play, it's with this mentality. He is great with the preparation. He's going to hold people accountable. That is what Gregg Popovich wants. That is what Victor Wembanyama wants. And that is what the rest of this roster wants for there. This I had to add in. Close to returning. He'll be back action with the Spurs soon. There's nothing to worry about with Devin Vassell. The stress fracture in his right foot, it made me a little nervous, and it still is a little bit, and it's just because that's such a small bone. I've had that same exact injury, and sometimes if it doesn't heal fully properly, if it doesn't go 100%, there is a chance that it could be something that could either pop, stress again, or whatnot. But when it is healthy, it actually comes back stronger. So as long as it's 100% healthy, then we are fine in that aspect there. But here are some of the odds. MVP odds, Victor Wembanyama is 7th. The worst an MVP has ever been has been a 6 seed. That's happened twice. That was Russell Westbrook when he averaged a triple-double, and that was Nikola Jokic 3 years back when the Warriors won the championship. The worst, there are 6 seeds. A precedent for it is your top 4 seed. But even as a 6 seed, you still have a great record. And I understand his odds aren't like amazing odds, but they're right around Jason Tatum, which means odd makers believe that the Spurs have the ability and the chance to get to 45, 46 wins. If they didn't, he wouldn't be on this list. I don't care how good you are. If you're below 500, you're not winning MVP. It's not going to happen. Then we go over to, this is Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, he's minus money to win it. Everybody thinks that Victor Wembanyama is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And I get it. You can win Defensive Player of the Year under 50% win percentage, but it's only been done twice. Once by Dikembe Mutombo, and once, shout out to our guy, Albert Robertson, 35 and 47. It's only been done twice in the history of the NBA being under 50% win total and getting there. If that was the case, he would have won it last year because he was a better defender than Rudy Gobert. But they went with team defense. What Rudy Gobert helps with the team defense. You can't just be great individually. You have to be great as a team. Great teams win games. It's happened one time. And cool fact about Alvin Robertson for the older Spurs fans that know, or the younger Spurs fans that like to dive into the history. Most improved odds. Our guy's leading it at 1. The alien's leading it at 1. The last person and the only person to win most improved and defensive player of the year happens to be our guy Alvin Robertson. So, shout out, Victor Wembanyama can keep that within the Spurs household, keep that right then and there, everything that is going to be, all the awards. He has a chance, there's an outside chance of the trifecta. The MVP is a long shot for this year, but they win 45, they win 48 games. We'll get into what I think exactly in just a moment. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. But last but not least, these are all 15 teams in the conference. The Mavericks, I would say they stayed the same, if not got better with Klay Thompson. Denver got worse. The Warriors stayed the same, but they weren't great last year. They were a play-in team last year. The Rockets, Rockets are a solid team that's going to be tough. The Lakers are good. It's just a fact of can the Lakers stay healthy and what kind of depth. Dalton Connect looked like they could be something for them. He played fine, but obviously Anthony Davis was a monster in game 1. The Clippers aren't good. Clippers, you can put them back. They were a playoff team last year. They're not good. Kawhi Leonard's missing indefinite time. It's James Harden or bust because obviously Paul George left. The Grizzlies will be better. You got John Morant there. Zach Edey's a big who's going to help and be serviceable there. The Grizzlies will be better. Timberwolves got worse with that trade, in my opinion. I think that Karl Anthony Towns, I would have ran it back one more time. Julius Randle, how does he really fit in? I like him, and I think that he's good. It's just you now have multiple people who get downhill. You've got Gobert, who's in the paint. Ant can shoot, of course, but you've got him. He's going to be more downhill. Julius Randle's going to be more downhill. OKC is going to be great. OKC is great. They were great last year, going to be great this year. The Pelicans with DeJounte, our guy DeJounte Murray, they're going to be better. Phoenix up in the air. You never know with Phoenix because Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal all miss time. You have no idea what they're going to be. They should be good, but they should be fine. The Blazers aren't great. The Kings got much better with DeMar DeRozan, so they're going to be an interesting team. You've got the Spurs, you got the Jazz. We're already better than Portland, Utah. The Clippers. That already puts us definitively at 12. To be a play-in team, you need to be at 10. Phoenix, we can beat Phoenix. We can be better than the Grizzlies. It just all depends. We're better than the Rockets, so that's 11. So we just need to beat one of those teams out above them. And they absolutely will. The Spurs are going to go 44-38 this season. They are going to be the 8th seed in the play-in. They're going to be 8th seed in the playoffs, and they're going to be in the play-in. From the play-in, we will see. We'll predict that afterwards. But the Spurs this season, shout out to you guys again, but the Spurs this season are going to be 44-38. They are making the play-in, and from there we'll see they're going to be in good chance with a home play-in game to get to the playoffs. 44-38. Stamp it, book it. We'll come back to this. If I'm wrong. Don't care. 44-38. Victor Wembanyama is going to win Most Improved Player this year. He will be upwards to 27-12. Around 4 blocks. Chris Paul's going to get him extra points. Victor Wembanyama is going to be bordering on 30. 44-38. We've got the Most Improved Player. Defensive Player of the Year. That's a lock. Run away with that. Tuck it, hide it. That's already a consent. Like, if he's healthy all 82 games, that hits a lock. Last but not least, he will be top 5 in MVP this season. He is about to have one of the greatest year 2s we've seen. He's going to rival when LeBron came in, went from 20 points a game up to 27 after his Olympic run. I talked about this in the last video, how playing in the Olympics from 03 to 04 for LeBron, he was able to take that next step. The team took a next step with him, and the team really didn't even get that much better. We got better, and he's got players to help him out, and he played much better than LeBron. LeBron averaged 5 points in that Olympic run. Victor Wembanyama was the best player in that Olympic run. He is going to be a top 10 player by the end of the year. He will win Most Improved. He will win Defensive Player of the Year. Top 5 for MVP. Spurs 44 and 38, and Stephon Castle will take home Rookie of the Year. I understand Zach Edey's leading, and then there are a couple other candidates, but when he's averaging 13, 4, and 4 with about 2 steals a game, roughly playing 26 minutes in that realm, he's going to be in the running. He's clearly all rookie first team. He'll be in the running for Rookie of the Year, and I think he'll sneak that out. Those are the Spurs predictions. I needed to break down why everything is going to go up before I gave those, because I need people to understand that this isn't just some random team. They want to win. They have a winning culture. They have winning players, and this team is going to become a winning franchise yet again. We know what winning's about. 20 years of winning. It was the Patriots and the Spurs going back and forth. The Spurs were the Patriots of the NBA, and the Patriots were the Spurs of the NFL. Teams consistently, for the Patriots, 10-plus wins. For the Spurs, 50-plus, going on deep playoff runs. Spurs won 5 chips. The Patriots won 6. 44 and 38. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Let me know what you guys predict this year for the San Antonio Spurs. But I've got high hopes, high predictions, and I hope you guys do too. This has been Spurs Digest with Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and we get to see this season, and I hope to see you guys very soon.